Hello everybody and welcome to Sports Truth. And before, you've already seen the title, you're going to know what I'm going to be talking about. I just want to introduce myself. I've never done a video on this channel before. I just want you to know a little bit about me. And obviously you can tell I'm pro Seahawks, so understand that before you hear me understand before you hear me make any assumption about this game at all. I'm not biased whatsoever. I've been a Seahawks fan since I was young, but I'm going to explain everything that I believe about this game in the most unbiased way possible, even though I'm wearing Seahawks gear right now. So, nevertheless, I can't promise I'm going to upload on this channel a lot, but, we'll see how it goes. I plan on becoming a sports journalist when I grow up, broadcaster, anchor, all the above. I'd love to work for ESPN one day, so this is just a kind of, tryout thing so that I can see how I do talking about sports. I've brought up some stats here that I'm going to just use to explain my thought process about this game. And so it's Super Bowl 49 in Glendale, Arizona, New England versus my Seahawks. And I do believe that the Seahawks will pull it out. And I think it will be it won't be as easy as last year's Super Bowl. It will stay close, I think, until the end of the third quarter. I think the Seahawks will start to pull away. They are a second-half team this year, and they are the best finishing team. I mean, I can't really say it. Just look at the Green Bay game because that was part lucky, but you could tell that they are clutch when they need to be. Russell Wilson is clutch with that throw. That was just an amazing throw. Like I've never seen a guy like him play quarterback in the NFL, throw so many interceptions. I mean, two, maybe even three that weren't his fault because Jermaine Kearse didn't really fight on that fade route for the ball, I believe. But two off of Kearse's hands, and just even all four of them were to Jermaine Kearse, and he still, just threw it to him for the winning touchdown. I've never seen a quarterback be able to do that, and I really do believe that with these stats, I'm going to prove to you that this game will be relatively easy for the Seahawks. So, a big thing going into this game, people believe that Rob Gronkowski, is going to be a huge, tone setter. He's going to, be bumping the Seahawks. Nobody can cover him, right? Wrong. Let me just explain to you. Rob Gronkowski, he's a great tight end, but he's not the best tight end to ever play the game. I'd argue that Tony Gonzalez is the best tight end to ever play the game. And I'm going to show you stats that the Seahawks have against all great tight ends that they've played in the last couple years. I'm just going to tell you the stats because they're quite amazing, actually, on how they shut them down, along with the receivers that are within that team that they also have to cover. And the people keep saying that Cam Chancellor is going to cover Rob Gronkowski. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say God, it's so hard to say his name for me. Gronkowski will get covered by Cam because the person who normally covers tight ends, especially great ones when we play them, are KJ Wright. Now, I would say that Vernon Davis is covered by Cam Chancellor, and that is very well known. But KJ Wright is usually the one covering tight ends, and I'm going to show you these stats. Tony Gonzalez, this is, I believe, in 2012, the championship game, not the championship, the divisional round of 2012. We have Tony Gonzalez with 6 receptions, 51 yards, 1 TD, and then a year later, when he played the Seahawks in the regular season, he had 3 receptions for 29 yards, no TDs. Those are not mind-blowing stats whatsoever, except for a TD. I do expect Rob Gronkowski to get 1 TD in this game, but just 1. And I'm thinking around 46 yards, 45 yards receptions, 45 yards receiving on 3 receptions. I'm thinking with a TD. That's my guesstimation for this game. And let's just keep going here. We have Greg Olsen, 4 receptions, 58 yards, 1 touchdown, and then 16 yards along with 5 receptions and 56 yards. Whoa, I wrote that wrong. Yeah, so he has 1 reception for 16 yards along with 5 receptions for 56 yards and only 1 game where he had a TD. Rob Gronkowski, he did play the Seahawks in that 2012 game. I thought he was injured that game, but I was wrong. I went back and looked at the stats, and he did have a decent game. He had 6 receptions, 61 yards, 0 TDs. But then again, we have grown as a team, I believe. Not we, I'm just talking about the Seahawks in general, but they have grown in the defensive proportion of their game. They have very well improved since then. That game, I don't think, would have been as close as if it was played now with this defense, or even last year's defense. If the game was played last year, I don't think it'd be a close game at all, when the Seahawks only pulled it off 24-23. And now I'm going to, there's still a couple tight ends. Julius Thomas, he barely has altogether 7 receptions, freaking 43 yards, 1 TD in 2 games against them. Jimmy Graham, 1 reception for 8 yards last year in the NFC divisional round. And then earlier that year, he had 3 receptions, 42 yards for 1 TD. And then Jason Witten, when they all but not just dominated the Seahawks earlier this year in the regular season, he only came away with 2 receptions for 24 yards and 1 TD. That is remarkable to me for only letting him get 2 receptions against with the Dallas Cowboys. But yeah, that's just amazing to me. And then this is what I do believe, because everybody's been so hard on Russell Wilson since the last game against the Packers, and saying, "Oh yeah, well he's not gonna. If he does that against the Patriots, he throws 4 interceptions, then he's not gonna have really any chance at all." Get this straight, guys. Get this through your thick skulls. That was the only damn game Russell Wilson has ever thrown 4 interceptions. You cannot expect him to do that again, let alone even throw 1. The guy barely ever makes a mistake. And you know what? He said it himself. He was just trying to go down swinging. I have nothing held against him. He's going to stick to his game plan. He is not going to throw an interception in this game. I really do believe that. Unless it's a tip ball from another receiver. He never really makes an own mistake. And I really don't believe he's going to throw an interception in this game. He didn't throw one last year in the Super Bowl. He's a poised young QB. I believe a future great. And that might be a biased opinion. I know a lot of people don't believe Russell Wilson to be that type of quarterback. But comparing, I didn't even see these stats until a couple days ago. But comparing the stats he has with Tom Brady in their first 3 years together, he has better stats than Tom Brady had in his first 3 years together. Throwing the ball, he has better stats, along with his rushing attack. So I have no doubt in my mind he will turn out to be a great quarterback. And let's just look. He has great QB stats in Glendale, Arizona, and domes in general since being an NFL quarterback. So, in Russell Wilson in Glendale, Arizona, where the Super Bowl will be played, this year, I mean, I do want to say they're not the same defenses, Arizona and New England. I would say they're very similar, though, with a great back end of cornerbacks and safeties, and I think a pretty similar pass rush, I would like to believe. So let's just get to these stats. 2014, he is passing as 20 of 31, 339 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions, QB rating of 122.9 in Glendale, Arizona, with rushing 88 yards on 6 attempts, 1 TD, which was phenomenal. It was amazing. It was the best 3-yard TD I've ever seen by a freaking NFL quarterback ever. Okay, and so in 2013, he had not as great of a game, but he still had a really good game. 18 of 29, 235 yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions, QB rating of 122.1, along with 29 yards on 8 attempts. And this isn't to say that he's invincible in Arizona, not by any stretch of the imagination. But he does seem to play better in domes, as I will keep going here. He has played in a couple other domes. And in Glendale, Arizona, I just don't know. He seems, from what I've seen in the first 3 years of his career, to just be phenomenal and show every bit of what he can offer. And, I have nowhere else to really go with that, but just look at the stats. Just listen to the stats I just told you. Those are elite stats. I mean, 340 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. He doesn't make mistakes. He scores 3 touchdowns a game there, pretty much. It's crazy. So, and then we go to Russell in the Georgia Dome of Atlanta. Of course, it's not as great of a defense nearly as the other two, but still in a dome, I'd just like to say is passing. In 2012, in the divisional round game that the Seahawks lost in, it was passing was 24 of 36, 385 yards, 2 DDs, and 1 interception, QB rating of 109.1, along with 60 yards on 7 attempts with a TD. So again, he scores 3 TDs in a dome, 1 interception, and then 2013 he threw 19 of 26, 287 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions, QB rating of 134.6, rushing 20 yards on 3 attempts. So the rushing is a little cycle. It kind of, I mean, he doesn't need to run in domes, but, a lot of the time he wins the games in domes by just passing the ball, which a lot of people think he can't do. But in domes, he seems to really rocket the ball everywhere and doesn't miss. I think a lot of the fault that is thrown upon him in the last game was it was a good 20-mile-per-hour wind with rain, downpour of rain last game, and it's in Seattle. So, I mean, not a lot of quarterbacks are going to be able to throw the ball great in Seattle. Seattle. Matt Hasselbeck never threw the ball great in Seattle, and that was this. I mean, that was probably Matt Hasselbeck. I would put up with. I put up among top Seahawks quarterbacks ever. So, I'd say that, which isn't saying much because we haven't had a lot of great quarterbacks. I mean, we have good quarterbacks in the past, but, it's just not great quarterbacks. Like, Russell is probably going to go down as the best quarterback in Seahawks history. But on to the next one. In St. Louis Dome this year, he had 23 of 36 on 313 yards passing, 2 TDs, no interceptions, and a QB rating of 110.1. And I do believe he had a rushing touchdown that game. I can't remember. I didn't see the stat. But yeah, and I'm not going to go through all of Tom Brady's indoor games, but the all-around thing is 16 starts indoors, 11-5 record, 65.5% completion passing, 365 completions out of 557 attempts, along with 267-yard average per game, 4,272 total in 16 starts, and which is like a normal season for a quarterback, I guess you could say. 31 TDs and on 16 interceptions. So I do think that the Seahawks will get an interception, and I do think that their pass rush will get to Tom Brady. Let it come either or. I think it will all go together on a play. I think just like last year when Peyton Manning got hit in the elbow by Cliff Averill. I think that the ball will be popped up. I think they'll get to him. I can't say pick 6 or anything. I just think that he's going to turn the ball over once or twice. Seahawks rushing attack is very good against mobile quarterbacks. Immobile quarterbacks, excuse me. But yeah, so those are just the stats I just wanted to look at because a lot of people are saying Russell isn't dependable. He's going downhill for this game. No, he's not. It was pouring down rain and 20 mile per hour winds. And, we're lucky to be in the Super Bowl, but don't ever say Russell Wilson can't handle it. He handled it last year perfectly fine. I predict Russell will be the MVP of this game. I think the Seahawks are going to win 31-19, pulling away in early fourth quarter. That's just my opinion. Feel free to call it biased or whatever you guys want. I think Marshawn... by the way, also, New England Patriots are really bad on outer end rushing attacks. Marshawn Lynch, I expect to be able to run all over them. So I think either Russell or Marshawn Lynch is going to just win the MVP of this game and just blow away New England. The read option in this game is going to be so important. Russell Wilson, along with Marshawn Lynch in this read option, could tear New England apart and give New England no chance. It could get as bad as last year's Super Bowl if New England cannot stop the read option because it is going to be that hard. They are not good at stopping the read option or outside runs. So that is just my outtake of what I've seen from New England, what I believe this game to be. That's what I think. 31-19 Seattle. Feel free to disagree with me. Tell me what you think down below. It's totally fine. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And that is it for this one, guys. That is my prediction. I will see you guys all later. Peace.